And all right, now we all have to go to Instagram.
Da, 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 da. Like the Activia jingles in my head. I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
I love it. We
Nice.
finally got in our regular millennial pause.
Yes. There's a little echo. I'm hearing myself from somewhere.
Here, I'm going to mute myself and then you say something.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I think that was
Yeah, I
it.
still got you. Better? You still hear the echo?
Yeah.
Can I hear the echo now? It's gone.
Great.
Yeah, I don't hear
All
that.
right.
Well,
Okay.
if it comes back, we'll be millennials about it and do a mediocre job of fixing it.
Amazing. Amazing. Everyone can see our amazing technical skills.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Millennial Pause. I'm Katie McManus, and I'm here today with two Ryans, Ryan Basham and Ryan House. And we have a ton of news to go over today. Ryan Basham, what did you want to talk about first?
So, people have been getting the runs. I thought we'd start light with I think it's a spore, isn't it? On lettuce.
It's a parasite.
It's a parasite on lettuce. So and people have been getting the runs left and right. And I personally have been saying I wouldn't hate, having to lose 5 pounds or whatever from that. Although I did see a video from a woman saying, if that's what you've been saying, you don't want this. And I'm not sure I believe her. But super light topic. The first deaths have been reported from that infection in Michigan, of all places. And so, I just the thing that kills me about this is that that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. dismantled the group whose job is to monitor for things like this and prevent them for touching the human population. Like that's one of the many stupid things he's done. But the people who've gotten sick and now people who have died might not have if he hadn't fired that entire team. So, make America healthy again, I guess.
Yeah. I'm too lazy, but I was thinking about that one little clip from The Devil Wears Prada 1 where Emily Blunt is like, "Oh, I'm just one stomach flu away from my ideal weight." It's
yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm just one
weight, yeah.
Cyclospora lettuce salad away from my ideal weight." But if anyone else wants to steal that content idea, you can go for
it. I mean, I'm sure somebody else has already done it, but I don't mind also doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Totally. It also reminds me, my best friend, she had some friends in college who went to India, and one of them got like traveler's stomach and she lost like 10 pounds. And another friend was so jealous that she like went and walked around and then she licked the bottom of her shoe. And she got so sick that she had to go into the hospital. They had to remove one of her kidneys.
Oh her kidneys?
Yes.
Jesus.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So maybe we don't wish for Cyclospora.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember. Here I go, pulling out my how old I am card. To remember that there's this guy who made the news several years ago because he had like debilitating asthma, and he eventually concluded, I forget how, that that asthma, the increased rates of asthma today are in part because our bodies being parasite free is a relatively new phenomenon in the human species. And so, so the body's, the immune system's trying to do as much as it thinks it needs to do, but it doesn't have parasites to fight. So it ends up doing other things, like overreactions like asthma. And so he decided he wanted to acquire a parasite that he could live with healthily. And so he went and walked through and he went to like someplace in Africa where they don't have plumbing and walked through an open trench of like human waste barefoot and succeeded in acquiring that parasite. And now he lives relatively asthma free with no other health complications. And he sells that parasite online for other people to consume, so they can also have this parasite in their body, presumably because it's a treatment for, asthma or some other autoimmune thing or overactive immunity or something like that.
Okay. I'm just having this like flash of like regret 20 years from now that like you become the next RFK Jr. and you're like, you're advocating for this. Like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Oh,
And there are details about how he collects the specimens for shipping off to people that you probably don't want. I wish I didn't have. But it is really, really gross. And I guess good for him. I don't know. That just seems like it's not like he did it under the supervision of a doctor.
no. No, just had a wild idea and went for it.
Yeah. Let me travel halfway across the globe to acquire a parasite.
Yeah, I'm reading
Are you
about it
Googling
now. Parasitic worms lead to new treatments for asthma. There is a low incidence of asthma in populations infected by parasitic worms.
Wow.
But you're also infected by parasitic worms.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial for like a this is a quick aside, like a GLP-1 name brand. I can't think of like
like Ozempic
whatever
or
the
something, or
company it was.
Wegovy. Yeah.
It wasn't that one, but it was one
Yeah.
of those ones, right? They the side effects, forgot what the medication was. It was like depression, anxiety, explosive diarrhea, weight loss, like migraines, throwing up. I was like, what is this supposed to be for? I forget.
Yeah.
What is this for? What is it for? And my partner goes, it's one of those GLP-1 things. And I go, oh my God, it just sounds like it makes you sick. It sounds like this medication just makes you really sick. You're like, yeah, I'm sure you do lose a lot of weight if like it's coming out of both ends and you can't keep anything down for 2 weeks because you're on this weirdo medication.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Yeah, I bet you.
So my aunt with whom I'm staying right now, I'm coming to you live from my aunt's house. Just recently retired from the FDA, and she worked in the division that the massive division of the FDA that deals with drug approvals. And she told me that, all those warning things they put in those pharmaceutical commercials, the law requires that all of those things, which are that content comes from that massive, like, the label inside the package that's on that really thin paper and you unfold and it's massive. That's a legally binding document, and the warnings that are in the commercials are pulled directly from the text on that document, and they're required by law to be in those commercials. So everything that could possibly have happened is listed.
And it all covers the company's ass. If anyone gets anxiety while they're on the medication, then they can't sue the company because, like, well, we warned you.
Yeah, and if it happened in one person in clinical trials, they have to warn you about it.
I was gonna say, fun fact about me, there is, I also can't think of what the brand name is, but the injection, like the once a month migraine medication.
Yeah.
I was part of the test study for that medication. I got that for about 18 months and it really does work. It was probably one of the best things that I've ever had to test. But yes, that is 1,000,000% true. You have to report every single thing that possibly happens with you, which is why there'll be odd things like the common cold will be the side effect of like some medications or stuff like that. A lot of cold medications or like flu medications or things that you take around the fall or something like that. A side effect is the cold or like getting a cold or getting the flu, because the people in the study got a cold and they got the flu just because it was wintertime anyway. All the side effects of migraine medication is a migraine, because for the guy that it didn't work, he said he had a migraine. Yeah. But he also took the medication, so they can't be sure which one it was. So they do have to do that. Yeah.
The thing this drug is supposed to fix may give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody might have got food poisoning while they were taking this medication, and now they have to say it might make you throw up.
What also boggles my mind is that they always say, do not take Wegovy if you are allergic to Wegovy or any of its ingredients. But the fact that they have that for some reason they have to point out, hey, don't take this if you're allergic to it. Like, why is that a thing? Why did that have to happen? Like what caused them? Why do they have to tell? It's kind of like things that say caution hot, like coffee. Yeah. Like obviously it's hot. Did someone sue?
McDonald's got sued because they gave someone really hot coffee and they burned themselves, and they got sued.
Yeah, and they didn't say anything, and it was like That story is always really interesting because people think it's like a lady that just spilled like some coffee on
No, it
herself.
was
I
really
always
hot.
thought that,
It was
Garga.
really,
Like,
really hot. Yeah.
you read the case and it's like, oh no, the coffee was like 200 and it was like boiling when they
Yeah.
gave it to her, and the lid wasn't on it, and she
Yeah.
dropped 32, like an entire large in her lap and just
Yeah.
scolded. And I think she had like third-degree burns. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
That lady
But
deserved to
the
sue
corporate
McDonald's.
propaganda against her to make her sound like she's this unreasonable, crazy person, we all bought into it.
Yes.
Certainly
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And like, what has to happen at McDonald's for them to make coffee that's way too hot in the first place? Like, how did that happen? Like, do
They
coffee
got new
machines go up to
machines.
220?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they
so
got new machines and stuff too. That's why they like, I mean, later on would rebrand to like McCafe and all of that because they had dangerous machines that would heat the coffee to 300 degrees if you wanted it.
Oh my
because
God.
there was a time when McDonald's coffee was like one of the go-tos if you wanted coffee.
It's like
Good
you
coffee.
get your cup of coffee from McDonald's and it's just steam and you're like but anyway, well, okay, so cyclospora, people are dying.
Yeah.
Amazing.
People are dying. Yeah, it's which is
Yeah.
so tragic, but also you know, I heard some an epidemiologist say recently, you know, things like this will happen. Like diseases of all kinds will cross over from mammals to humans. It happens regularly. And if we are not monitoring for that, then it can actually become a real problem in the general population.
Right.
And so, you know, I just not only was RFK Jr. on CNN yesterday, you know, advocating for this like really dubious study about vaccines that is not something that that the experts think is on, you know, point, and got into a fight with Dana Bash about it because he said that she was parroting trust the experts, and I'm like, who are we supposed to trust, buddy? But this same guy also didn't see the value in monitoring diseases as they travel across the globe and across mammals, because knowing full well that diseases do, that's what happens when multiple species of mammal share the same planet. Things will cross over. And so I'm just, you know, I'm so disappointed, and I feel in a way lucky that I have the privilege of healthcare coverage, and live in a state where there are additional controls on things like that, like food. But you know, this kind of thing can happen to anybody, and all it takes is eating, you know, a taco with lettuce from Taco Bell. Yeah.
Right.
But not just from Taco Bell. It could be from Whole Foods. It could be from Aldi. It could be from Safeway. Like they all get their lettuce from the same place and just package it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What an uplifting topic.
I know. Explosive diarrhea. Love talking about
your
that.
veggies, kids.
Yeah, wash your veggies.
Washing veggies doesn't even do it though. You
Does
have
it
to
not?
cook it. Yeah, no. You like so people were using baking soda and vinegar, and that like will damage the exoskeleton of the parasite, but it won't get rid of it.
Wow.
So literally the only way to deal with it is to cook it.
Well, I'm not going to cook my romaine.
No, of course not.
I'm going to change my, just no salads for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'll have to lose weight the
everybody's doing the
old-fashioned
high
way.
protein diets anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Just eat a steak.
Yeah, totally.
or eat things cooked with beef tallow. That's all the rage.
There's a dude on the carnivore diet living his best life right now.
Yeah.
Looking around going, see, I told you.
Vegetables are bad.
Oh my God. All those guys who are on carnivore diets, I guarantee you they're like, I got the meat sweats at some point every week.
They absolutely have the meat sweats.
Gross.
Yeah, and they never talk about how you know, messy their bowel movements are, or like the long-term damage to their colon and stuff like that. But, you know, none of that's real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People do better.
Oh my God.
Well,
we can't because there's parasites on all the vegetables. So
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thoughts and prayers and condolences to anyone who is struggling with cyclospora. And please, for the love of God, people, vote to bring science back and protections for our food system.
Yeah. Make science listened to again.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so insane that with the backdrop of that and with the backdrop of Epstein survivors having to go door to door in Congress with printed out folders of documents from the Epstein files to get Congress people to listen to them, Congress is instead dragging Fauci out and trying to make him look like he did something wrong by reading his diary.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, and I'm, Rand Paul is such a garbage person. Did you know that when he started practicing medicine, he took issue with the professional association for whatever his specialty is? I think ophthalmologist or something. So he just created an alternate one. That's like a pediatric. Yeah, like it's like it's like a pediatric doctor. Instead of joining the American Academy of Pediatrics, they just create a different group.
To get his accreditation, he just made a group to give himself the credit.
I feel like
cool. I like that. That's very like evangelical
coaching move. Yeah, that's cool. Like a life coaching move. It's like, I want to be a life coach. I'm just going to build a life coaching school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brian and I are both, life coaches also, and we've both gone through like valid training. But there are a lot of really shady life coaching schools out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no regulation or any of that stuff.
No. Nope. Mm-mm. Unlike in medicine, you think there would be stricter guidelines around that.
Yeah. I think some states have tried or something, but I don't know. I've never seen any evidence of it. Yeah. I feel like we've been talking about some dark stuff. Yeah. And we should change topics, but I don't know that
something silly. I have something silly to talk about. Like, I mean, it's kind of dark, but we can laugh at it.
Great.
Because have you guys seen?
I'm in. Let's go.
The White House TikTok.
No.
I'm not sure what intern they are giving. It's got to be like circus peanuts or something like that too. But this guy is cranking out these AI videos at a rate that I have never seen before. And they're all so weird and like unhinged completely. Like, hold on a second. If I show you, if I don't like that, can you guys actually see it? Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. We're throwing to a clip, you guys, just like a real TV show.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We can figure out the tech. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I just have to add you.
Okay, cool. All right. Look at this. It's supposed to be like, the AMC theater, like the trailer for movie theaters that happens before the movie. It's supposed to be a spoof of that. I only know that because they used the AMC font at the end of it. The rest of this is just so unhinged. I have no idea what is going on.
Okay.
Let me see if you can get audio.
Oh my God.
So we have a white hood. That's pretty indicative of something.
Yeah. So it's this guy.
Oh, we have an echo.
Sorry, let me get that. Got it. Okay. Yes, the infamous picture of Trump. And then I don't know why they do this projection green screen thing, because it's supposed to be a movie. Like he's going to watch all
a movie about himself. Oh yeah.
Moments about Trump and how Trump is super good and super cool. And yep.
This is like post-apocalyptic because there's also no one there.
Then they have these, and they're always like, there's always some like whatever super popular hip hop song or something like that playing behind it, which I don't want to get the stream pulled down.
No,
we'll just but it is so I'm not logging in. It is so unhinged. Like this video, I'm almost positive these aren't even in America. But the audio is Trump saying the blue cities are dirty and gross and they smell and it's disgusting and all of this other stuff. And I just, for like a second, I kind of just want to be like, hey, Donnie, do you know that you're the president? Like, you're the guy in charge. If the country sucks and it's so gross and filthy and dirty and people shouldn't even want to be here or fucking come here, you're the president of the blue cities too.
Yeah.
Like, are you not how much power does this motherfucker have or not have?
Yeah.
Like, he always seems to have just enough power to not do enough, to never do anything. So you can sit in the where's the other day he made a weird, crazy, unhinged TikTok video of him being like the deep state, and it's like, you're the president. Who else is the deep state? Where does it go from here? You're the president. I thought the president was you got the key to the aliens underneath the thing from like, I thought once you became president, they unlocked the vault with, JFK's body and he's sitting there playing golf or something with Abraham Lincoln. And you're like, okay, this is what really happened. Yeah. It seems like Trump got into office and was like, the deep state. Like, he still thinks that there's a conspiracy theory of people that don't like him. No, no one likes you.
I mean, there is no one else. Everyone hates him, but it's open.
Yeah, there's no one above him to be holding him back.
Well, right?
Yeah,
Chrissy Hill went on TV and she was like, "Don't trust the government." And it's like, lady, you are the government.
Are the government?
She still had her job.
Yeah,
you're the thing that I don't trust.
In the same breath, he will talk like he has all the power in the world and threaten things, and then be a victim to things he controls.
Yeah.
How does that work? What bothers me is that they're like 20-30% of Americans who are like, makes sense to me.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that story about Al Qaeda, how like they now control the government, and now like the people that are in Al Qaeda who are running the government have like really high burnout because they hate their jobs because they didn't want to be like bureaucrats. They wanted to like, raid towns and fight and all this stuff. And now they're like pushing paper around and they hate it. And that kind of reminds me of what's going on with Trump and his people, because they want to be rabble rousers. They want to be the people that are like, the downtrodden, the victims, and here they're running the government and in power, and they don't get to blame anyone anymore.
Yeah. It's so much easier to criticize from the outside. And I also feel like a lot of them came in and they looked around at the things that he said they were going to come in and break, and they're like, oh, we can't just do that.
Yeah, that's holding up what? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that's just not how anything works. Like, the country doesn't work like that. I've had discussions or arguments, I guess, with people where I'm like, this isn't like a difference of opinion. There literally isn't a mechanism for him to do this. Like, there isn't a way to do this. He said he wanted to do a thing. That's impossible to do. And y'all are like, well, he's still going to do it. It's like, it is impossible, though. Like, a cow is never going to give birth to a duck. Like, he keeps saying impossible shit will happen, but it's still not. All the things that he wanted to just snap his fingers and turn off, he couldn't. He found out immediately that he was not allowed to do that. And then he did all that he could. And as he was doing it, everybody went, oh, this sucks. Actually, this was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
All of it. Like, I don't understand people being like, or him, like, brother, you've been president for 6 years against my will. Like, you're the guy that's been in charge. All of the shit that you're mad about for the last decade, you were in charge for 6 of those fucking years. Yep. Like, how are you going to say that everything and everyone is fucking, like, or the people that are like, well, we didn't really know, like, Trump was going to try to turn it around this time. What happened to the first time?
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, no. What the fuck happened to the first time? He was there for 4 fucking years. He didn't do shit. Y'all didn't do shit. Y'all didn't do shit. And and this motherfucker came back, promised that he was going to do shit this time. He's still, we're 2 years in, hasn't done shit, except spent all of your money.
Right.
And this time
he hasn't done anything. It's spent all your money, and somehow he's almost gonna be like his family's gonna be like the next trillionaire family after this shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the craziest part.
And it's not as if he allegedly
he's gonna
came in this
graduate and
time
then
with
just
the
die.
knowledge that he gained the first time. You know what I mean? Like he's supposed to have known how it worked for 4 years because he was there. And then he came in and he's halfway through the second attempt and he seems somehow less competent.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have any guardrails. He got rid of all the people. He like ran through all the people who were at all competent at the job that he needed them to do because they were the ones being like, whoa, like, no, we can't do that. You know, they were like the voice of reason in the White House. And he didn't want that. And also, you know, the Heritage Foundation didn't want that either.
They have gotten so much of what they wanted.
I know.
Yeah, you had like 20, 30-year veteran. That's another thing too that people don't realize. Like when the president changes, and yeah, they bring their cabinet and their administration and all of that. That's like the 30 people that we know about all the time that we always talk about every 4 years. There's like 150 other people that work in the White House all the time, no matter who the president is. Those are the people that quit in 2020. That's why everything is falling apart. Like those are the people that left, is the people that have been holding it together since Bush won. Those people, he kicked those people out. Like at a point, it's got to be like, we just want the country to succeed like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like these nonpartisan workers that kept the ship afloat are all gone, and we're just scrambling trying to figure out how to navigate, how to steer, but nobody knows how to pilot this thing. Nobody knows. Nobody's been here. That's been the blessing of every president, and the reason why the White House staff usually mostly stays the same, except for the immediate administration, is because you're going to have a brand new guy come in every 8 years who doesn't know what the hell is going on. He thinks he knows what the president is, but he's not really sure. And then you have a group of people that can help.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Even in 2028, when we get rid of this dude, next guy is screwed, you know? Because like we have to get all the normal people back.
They're going to have to give such big bonuses to bring people back into the roles that they left.
Yeah, and even then, I think people, you know, we're gonna go for a generation without many of these people being willing to work for the federal government. Like we're going to go a generation without many of our best talent being willing to go back or go into government in the first place because of how unstable it is and how demoralizing it can be. And that's just, you know, and also, why would the rest of the world trust that we're going to be a stable place to, you know, a stable, you know, country for another generation? Like he's really fucked us over for a long time in every way possible. And there's something wild to me about, there are people who bought into the lie about like the deep state and villainizing, you know, career government workers. But now here we are. And they seem to not understand why things aren't going the way they thought they would. But a principal reason for that is that the people who are in place for their careers and who adapt what they're doing based on the prerogatives of the president aren't there anymore.
Right.
So literally, it's not just that they changed the people with the hands on the levers; they got rid of the people who knew how the levers worked.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Well, and it's so crazy to me that like he's claiming that the election was stolen in 2020, right?
Sure, Jan.
But like the election worked in 2016 and it worked in 2024. Who was president in 2020?
Right.
Right? The one time he's claiming that the election was stolen, he was the guy in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But he's not.
He was the guy in charge for the 4 years leading up to that terrible election. That was the worst we've ever seen. That was your
he's so good at being a victim. Yeah, he's so good at being a victim, and it's wild that so many people don't hear him speaking and go, "That's some guy playing the victim." Like most of the time, I think people are allergic to that when they detect it in another person. But somehow millions of Americans hear him do it, and it doesn't gross them out. That still confuses me. That still eludes me. I just don't understand how he gets what happened for him to get so much grace from so many people that are being hurt by what he does.
Yeah.
You know, and I think most Americans are pretty grossed out by someone playing a victim. And I just don't get why he's the exception to that. I really don't.
My theory around this, and it is something that you see in white nationalism, in Christian nationalism, in any system that has like a powerful man at the top that is abusive. It's that there's a set of moral rules for everyone in there, but there are caveats that allow powerful people in the power structure to be exempt from those rules. Right. And
Mm,
so, like, the human brain cannot function if they think, oh, well, my pastor is a rapist. And
yeah.
I'm still, going to church and giving money to this church and believing everything that he says. So I have to make all these different things that, like, oh, well, he obviously is wanted by all these women. And because like he has all this money and all this power, blah, 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 like, of course, these women are probably throwing themselves at him. And like women are obviously the problem here, right? Because we're lustful
Mm,
and we have bodies that men want. And we have to like cover our bodies up. So it's their fault, right? So your brain comes up with like all these fucked up reasons for excusing bad behavior. And you have all these people who've, been in churches that have been super abusive, have come from really abusive families, come from just societies or little microcultures that are based in white supremacy. And they've had to make these exceptions for these powerful people in their little worlds for so long that they have a Trump come along and it just fits.
yeah.
You
You know
know?
what? I think this might be a good segue into the congressman from Ohio, because we're
Mhm.
talking about how people who are traumatized and conditioned um, give permission to powerful men.
Mhm.
And I haven't been following this as closely as I think you have, Katie, but this is just another example of a Republican man in particular. Somehow Republican men get off more easily than Democrats for doing these things.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a member of Congress who is actively abusing his ex-wife, who
Mhm.
happens to be the daughter of a U.S. senator from
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, Max Miller, he's currently running a campaign for Congress. He and his ex-wife Emily, who is Bernie, and I'm blanking on his last name.
Moreno.
Moreno, thank you. Bernie Moreno's daughter. They have a 2-year-old together. They got divorced. Like, he has a history of being very violently abusive to her and their daughter. Allegedly, he broke their 2-year-old daughter's collarbone during an altercation. This is a dangerous man. This is a man that, like, they are literally afraid he is going to do something violent to them, every time this 2-year-old has to be in his custody. So Bernie Moreno has basically come out publicly and said Max Miller is an abuser. He abused my daughter. He should not have any power within the government. He should not be in charge of anything. Like, he's admitted privately that he needs psychological help. And Max Miller, is going on the offensive. He's like sharing these like really like he thinks that this sounds good. He's sharing these audio recordings of arguments that he's had with Emily, where he is absolutely the abuser in the situation. She's
Yeah.
reacting to the abuse, and he's like playing it calm and cool like a psychopath. And he's just gaslighting her and gaslighting her and gaslighting her. And like a true narcissist or psychopath, like, he thinks that that's the evidence that's going to get him off.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and he said in a video he posted to social media, do you think she would have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later if, such and such had happened? And I think the most obvious answer to that for most people is yes. That
Yeah.
is what people who have been, that's classic behavior of someone who's been abused, especially someone who has to maintain a relationship with him because they share a child.
Yeah.
I think, even before he got into Congress, he was a staffer in the Trump White House, and somebody, I can't remember who, maybe it was Stephanie Grisham, somebody had, was very open about him having abused her. And I don't remember the details to that, but I do know that he got into Congress anyway. And I think he has a lot of privilege and permission because he's a white man, but he also has two specific kinds of privilege that I think make a big difference. One is charisma. Like, malignant narcissists have the best charisma in the world. Like, nobody can be more charismatic. And there's a lot of privilege that comes from that. He's also, I think most people consider him attractive, and attractiveness, and he's worked out. So, that physique, the attractiveness is also a form of privilege. And those things all added together, plus the fact that if you get a little close, you start to have reasons, either consciously or subconsciously, to be a little cautious. He starts to feel a little dangerous to be around, even though you don't realize that's what you're thinking. By the time you get to that point, he's kind of got you.
Yeah.
He is, there are multitudes of layers of why he is such a trap to get stuck in. But, she is, the things he's sharing that she has said and done and all her behavior are consistent with what somebody who is already in that trap might do. And I, at first, because her father is a U.S. senator and didn't say anything for a while, I was judging him a lot. But apparently somewhere somebody read that she initially didn't want him to say anything publicly because she didn't want to drag him down in it. So I'm going to say, okay, sure, maybe that's true. But now that he has come out and said that his ex-son-in-law is not fit to be in Congress, and there are, I think, only a few days, maybe 2 weeks or less for the Republican Party in Ohio. Is it tomorrow?
I thought it was tomorrow. So, and this is and I hate to say this about a domestic abuse situation, but this is the cool thing about this is that now Republicans are seeing this guy and they're realizing that if he doesn't step down from this election cycle, he's going to drag down the whole ticket. They were looking at Ohio and thinking, cool, we have that locked up. It's a red state, it's safe. We won't have to spend any money here. And now they're looking at spending like $10 or $12 million to try to make sure it stays red.
Yeah. It's kind of an embarrassment. Yeah, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, I think, for Ohio Democrats, because they have a really unlikable and unpopular candidate for governor. Although, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the Democratic candidate's flawed, but there's also Sherrod Brown, I believe, on the ticket trying to unseat a sitting U.S. senator, and he's very popular. And now here we are with the situation where Republicans are stuck with this obviously abusive person on the ticket. Like, all the circumstances for helping Democrats who are always on the back foot in Ohio succeed, I don't know how else they could be better electorally.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm just curious if Trump, when is Trump gonna say that he doesn't know this guy? Because he said, he said, I know Max. He's a good person. I mean, I've always thought he was a very good person, and I'm going to let the families figure that out. I'm going to give it maybe till Monday before Donald Trump is back on the news and goes, Max, I've never even heard of him. Never heard the guy. I'd never heard of the guy before. Who is she? Like that, they're going to be like, oh, so what do you think about Max Miller dropping out? Who is she? Never heard of her. He's gonna do that. I can't wait for him to do that. I'm looking at this case and I'm like, I don't know. That guy kind of looks like. I mean, he looked like he did it. Like he looked like the kind of guy that would be a little unhinged and everything.
He's like central casting.
He knows that he's pretty unhinged, and I'm hoping people are finally getting to a point where you're like, okay, we can't keep looking past these things, because maybe that's indicative of their entire character. Like, maybe it is important that we know what's going on at home with these people, and if they do crimes, maybe they're not good for politicians, because politicians shouldn't want to do crime. If you're gonna bend the moral rules on hitting your wife, you definitely don't. If you don't care about your wife, you don't care about me or my grandma.
Yeah.
Like you don't care about the health and well-being of the people that you apparently do this job to feed.
Right.
What makes
Well,
me think that you would ever do anything for me? This
well,
guy should lose.
100%.
I,
But I
I
want
hope
to
they
just jump
lose.
in. Have you guys been following the Jen Hamilton thing?
Wait,
Jen
I don't know that I
Hamilton.
have.
Okay, so she
wait, is
is
that the girlfriend
she,
of the?
no,
No,
so
no, no,
she's a
something
labor
else.
and delivery nurse. She has a massive following on TikTok and Instagram. She's like the internet's best friend. She is the kindest person. She, really stands for human rights. She's funny, like she's self-deprecating, like she's constantly talking about her pubes, just to be funny. Um, she was on Kelly Clarkson. The term was nipples in the wind. She's hysterical, but she's like the kindest person. She's always throwing attention to like small businesses and people who are really struggling, and just lovely. And she's about to go on her book tour. Like her life is blowing up, and her husband comes out that he's been having an affair. He has been living a double life. He has not been working. She has been supporting them with her nursing work and with the money that she makes from her content deals. He has like had anxiety, and so she's been supporting them. They have 2 kids. He's been leading a double life. The woman who is 20 years older than Jen, she's 35. So this woman is, 56. And in the state of North Carolina, if you want a divorce, you have to be separated for a full year before you can even initiate a divorce. And so now she's calling attention to this, right? And calling attention to the fact like she's safe. Like this guy is not an abuser. He's obviously a horrible human being, but she's safe from him. But for women who don't have resources, who've been stay-at-home mothers, who have a violent husband, what are they supposed to do for a year? Trying to figure out how to separate from this person and co-parent with them. And so now she's trying to call attention to this to get legislators to change this. But if you have guys like Max Miller who want to be able to control their former spouse and fuck around with them as much as they can because they're abusers and they like having that control, you can't tell me he's going to vote for divorce reform. You can't tell me he's going to look at situations and be a good judge of what is going to be best for everyone in the situation, because he doesn't give a fuck about his own ex-wife and his child.
Right.
I mean, I'm so exhausted by, I feel like everything that's happening in the world comes back to someone being abused or assaulted.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting.
And the cover up. And the cover up.
Of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a survivor, but I don't talk about it much, and I don't really need to. But it's just it really like I realized the other day, like it really there is an extra tiny bit of cortisol spike for me or something. I think when these things come because of it, and I just I don't know. On the one hand, I feel like we should as a society take responsibility for if anyone has ever hurt anybody, it's because we failed them. Is how I like to think about society. But at the end of the day, sometimes it just feels like there's no such thing as somebody who's untouched by this kind of scandal, because it's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's everywhere, and
yeah.
I don't know how to sustain that. I don't know what that looks like, but I know I'm exhausted, and I can't be the only one.
I mean, I think all of us who do political content, we're looking at it all the time. It's like we have to take care of ourselves, and anyone who's staying tuned into the news has to take care of themselves and their mental health.
Yeah,
I've heard this a bunch, and my therapist said this to me a few years ago, but like there is a kind of they are studying it now, and they're finding that news reporters and news pundits, content creators, us, I guess, are experiencing a type of PTSD that they haven't seen quite before, and they're trying to figure out like what exactly is it. Because you're right, Ryan, like you are not the only one that has that kind of reaction where it's almost like you get a sense of fight or flight in that moment, and it's like, but you've only been reporting on these things. And that is the unique thing, and why they're hesitating on like calling it PTSD specifically. They're saying like it's got to be a little bit of something else, because it isn't caused from being in this situation. It's caused from consuming so much of those situations that we are now having a fight or flight response just from hearing about it. Like, oh man, just hearing this story, I think of New York State is the same way. It's not a year, but it's 6 months. And you have to under oath swear that the marriage was irreconcilable for the last 6 months. And if your spouse doesn't think it was it was a problem for the last 6 months, nope. You got to wait from then you got to wait 6 months to prove that y'all really don't like each other. It is the most insane thing. And I get it like a little bit, but like it was such a process to go through, all to just prove that like you didn't want to be with this person. And I couldn't imagine the opposite. I couldn't imagine being my ex-wife in that situation. I had the wherewithal to go, I'm gonna go live with my mom. You don't have anywhere to go. You know what I mean? So like, but not most guys are assholes. We'll say 9.5 out of 10 are assholes. It wouldn't have done what I said that I would. It wouldn't have voluntarily left. And that's what I'm saying is like, this it shouldn't be okay because it was okay. Like I look at some situations that I'm like, this is absolutely heavily skewed in my favor. And so now I have to move in a direction to make it at least feel like things are fair. Like, you know, we didn't work out. I don't hate you. I just don't want to live with you anymore, man. But now I got to prove to New York State that I hate you, and this is the worst relationship that has ever existed, ever. And you have to suddenly prove these harsh things about each other, or it's odd. Because if you guys have lived together for the last 6 months, that looks bad. But if you move out, and also too, as quiet as it's kept, because of the way that assets are, I'm not sure how the laws work where she is, but because of the way that they tie assets to each other, you can't start over until your divorce is finalized. Because once you get those things, I learned making mistakes. You know, because maybe you move and you're like, I have kids. I want to make sure that I have a place for them to go. So you hurry up and you buy a house. And your lawyer goes, what did you buy your ex-wife a house for? And you're like, what do you mean? And they're like, y'all are still married. Don't buy anything else. And it's like, wait, what? And it's like, don't buy anything else. Don't make any major purchases. Don't move a lot of money anywhere. And it's like, but what if I was starting over? If you're starting over, don't move in limbo. I moved $5,000 from like my savings to my checking account to be able to buy a bunch of stuff. That New York State called. They were like, "What are you doing with that money? What are you talking? What do you mean? What are you doing with them? Why'd you move all that money around?" And it is, and I know like that is just one state and the way that it worked there. But just looking at it from the point of view of being a man. And there was a lot of times that it leaned heavily in my favor. There was a lot of times as being a black man that I knew that as soon as I walked in that room, though, and every single lawyer was white, they didn't like me as soon as they saw me. And I knew that was going to come and go. And that just sucks. It sucks to see this situation and I know that there's men that would be like, well, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. Like, I've done it. It wasn't that hard. And it's like, nah, it was easier for you. This seems insane. Because you don't know what you don't have until you're trying to move. Like, you're moving, Katie. You get it. Like, all the things that you have to get together when you don't have anything.
Right.
When's the last time you bought a pizza cutter? for a can opener.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
like 13 years ago, right? Like,
Yeah,
like there was
totally.
stuff I didn't realize that I didn't have until I was back living
I
on my
think we
own
need to
again.
normalize divorce registries. I think, like, honestly, if you're restarting
Oh, as
your
opposed
life,
to a wedding registry?
yeah, like divorce
divorce
registries, starting over registries, starting a business registries. I
Yeah.
think that is completely valid because that's when you need the most support. Like, if you're
Well,
combining households with someone else who's also had their own household, like I guarantee you're throwing shit out. Like, yeah, okay,
yeah.
you can benefit from some new shit, but like you don't need more things. But if you're dividing a household and you need a can opener, like, Auntie Meryl should be buying the can opener.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I
Well,
will
you
say
guys,
this.
you guys
But
I will
well,
say
I was
this
gonna
about the
say,
Jen Hamilton
it's like,
situation. Oh, sorry.
we have a little delay, don't we?
We do, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, if you don't have those resources or like those people around you, because that would still require like a network of people like that. It just there's so much that I think we don't see, like how devastating things are because of systemic problems. Like
Yeah.
this is when people go like what is an example of like misogyny incarnate in a systemic way? This.
Yeah.
This is absolutely it. A year? That's so crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's insane. So, like, to her benefit, the fact that he's been unfaithful, he does not get any alimony. Like, North Carolina is very strict about that. And she can also sue the other woman for alienation of affection. Which, I mean, as a petty Betty, I'm all for. But it's now also bringing attention to the fact that in Mississippi, if I were married in Mississippi and I wanted a divorce from my husband, if my husband said no, I wouldn't be able to get one. There are all these women now coming to social media and being like, I've wanted a divorce for 20 years and he still refuses to give it to me. And they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I
was complaining about 6 months.
Right.
We were talking about a year.
Yeah.
There's some people that is just no.
You can't get no. The state says both people have to agree. And if he doesn't agree, then you're married and you can't get out of it.
Well, and I think this is a good time to point out, one of the things that the Republican Party is actively pushing forward, it's not just written down in Project 2025, it's the active agenda of any Republican you might vote for, is the concept of getting rid of no-fault divorce. Mm-hmm. And that's a kind of abstract concept for people who have never needed to get a divorce. But, Ryan, what you went through, there didn't have to be a fault, right? That was a no-fault divorce. Taking away no fault divorce makes it somebody has to go on the record as being bad. Like it adds so much negative complexity. And the Project 2025 people, the Heritage Foundation, they want to do that specifically because they want to incentivize people staying married. They also kind of, I think, want to incentivize people continuing to only have sex with the person that they hopefully have ever had sex with. There's a whole thing there. But there is no such thing as a Republican on the national level or really state level who isn't directly or indirectly advancing an agenda that includes doing away with no fault divorce. So whatever you think you might get out of electing Republicans, financially, religiously, whatever that is, know that what's actually happening is that those Republicans are doing things like banning no fault divorce. Right. And that's just one of the many things that they're actively trying to do, that many of which have passed in the House of Representatives. And if for some reason we Democrats lost the House and Republicans held on to the Senate, they would then be able to start passing laws like that. Not all of them, because there's some procedural rules, although they could get rid of the filibuster at any time. But that's what Republicans are about. They are not about lower taxes for you. They are not about no new foreign wars. They are not about any of those things that they say that they are for. That might sound like, a benefit to you. They're really about creating a society shaped by rules that isn't unlike The Handmaid's Tale. That sounds like a dramatic thing to say, but if you were to do a bullet point list of what happens in the story of The Handmaid's Tale in order, we're pretty far down that list and we haven't missed many. So please understand that if you are not, I'm going to say, if you are not a rich, white, straight man who is not a Catholic or Jew or Muslim, like specifically a Protestant Christian, if you don't fit that profile, you're on the list. You know what, the things that are important to you, people like you, your concerns, on the list. The only people that this whole agenda is meant to benefit are the most elite of the elite of our society. And I promise you, if you're watching this, you are not it. That's all.
I can add on that. I can give you a good, not a good reason, but I can give you the logic, because it makes a lot of sense. If you were trying to get women to not vote anymore, what would you do? You would pass a law that says only the head of household votes, and then you would make every woman marry a man and not be allowed to get divorced. They're making it harder to get divorced because they don't want women to vote, because they said head of household, so they could not be misogynistic.
Right.
That's impossible.
And this is also the abortion issue. Like, the reason they're saying that they don't want abortion is because, like, once you have a child with someone and like someone has to take care of that kid, you're more likely to drop out of the workforce, right? You're more likely to be stuck in that marriage. And if you can't get a divorce, then you're screwed. Right.
And you don't actually have to have a shift to one vote per household like they really want, because what tends to happen is married couples, both vote the same way. And these people have spreadsheets somewhere with estimates regarding how many votes they think they can get for their party out of a household if the man votes for them. That's not an abstract thing they kind of think about. That's part of the plan.
Yeah.
So they don't actually have to. They are trying to get toward one vote per household. That is a thing that's in their medium-term strategy. But in the meantime, they do know that if they can keep a woman in the house with a man, the likelihood that she will vote the same way he does goes up dramatically, even if it obviously and plainly goes against their best interests.
Yeah.
Right. That's how you're being used and manipulated, folks. That's the GOP for you.
Yeah. Well, what I think is funny is that, like,
they're trying to get rid of the I'm canceling out my boyfriend's vote on my way to cancel out my husband's vote. They literally want that to be impossible.
Yeah.
They want you to not be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and what they can immediately do is shame people for it. Like, they can create a culture of shame for people saying that. And that's something they can do now, and something they actively do now. That they don't have to. That's phase one, is let the low-hanging fruit, shame. You know, we get to prohibition in law somewhere after that. They're not waiting until that law happens. They're waiting. That today they create an active culture of men decide what's up, and women who don't agree are bad.
Right. Well, and I think, like the dropping birth rate and the male loneliness epidemic, they're urging women to have more babies, and it's backfiring, right? Because we don't have a society that supports us. Right. So we're just saying, okay, cool, I won't have kids. Like, if you're not going to create a government that will actually support me in motherhood, then I'm not going to do it. And I think what they're going to find is women are going to be like, oh, cool, if I get married, I lose rights. Great. I won't get married. I won't get married. I won't partner. Like, I'll really invest in some battery powered appliances, and that'll be that. And I'll go all in on my female friendships. And men are just going to get lonelier.
They hate that.
And probably more dangerous.
Yeah, unfortunately. We're coming up on our time limit. But final takeaway from today.
Trump is really, really unhinged. And I can't wait. I cannot wait for him to say that he doesn't know Max Miller. I can't wait for him to say that he doesn't know Max Miller.
Yeah.
If we had producers who are off screen, I'd be like, let's start a timer, producers, and then they drag one onto the screen. But that's not where we're at, guys. This is a little more homegrown than that. So start the timer in your head.
Yeah. I just can't wait for the big, beautiful obituary. You know, I know it won't solve all of our problems, but it'll just make me so much happier that I don't have to see his stupid face anymore.
Yeah, there's at least a psychological payoff.
Yeah.
I think the common thread of all of these things is things that have already been done or things that are in the works that the modern Republican Party are going about like clockwork. I think I hope that more Americans realize what's happening, not just because of their economic situation, but and maybe that's the only way to get most people's attention. Maybe that's how it has to be. But from your personal health to the health of our species, our society, to our safety as a nation, to our influence abroad, to the ways that the government impacts individuals and the nuclear family. All of this is part and parcel of a strategy that does two things. One, it hurts us as individuals, but two, it lets arrogance make choices over accuracy and strategy. That is why things like what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz are happening right now. Right. Because arrogance over strategy means this thing that was supposed to take a day or two is now almost in month 6, and they haven't even won it yet, and they've already started committing war crimes. So there is no upside to any of this. There's none of the things that Republicans are doing today have some knock-on benefit, like international affairs, like our economy. There aren't upsides to this. So I want to bring it back to, it's important that Republicans lose every election possible. It's not just that they're not great. They're pursuing policies that are bad for everybody, but also at some point, somebody has to punish them because they've gotten away with too much. And if you look at the choices that our president is making and that Republicans are making, they don't yet seem to think that they're going to be punished for all of this. So there might actually be a good person that happens to be a Republican on your ballot. You need to vote against them anyway, because until all of us, not just we who have these conversations, but our friends and our family, actively vote against Republicans wholesale, they're going to continue to think they have permission to do all this. They're going to act as if they have a mandate from the ballot box. Right. So get to voting early and often. Just kidding, not often, unless it's once per election. And make sure you're voting against Republicans. And when in doubt, vote against Republicans. Good people who happen to be Republicans, that's not a thing right now.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And Ryan, thanks so much for joining us today. It was so great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll have you again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And just a reminder to everyone here, I'm going to end the stream on StreamYard, and then we have to wait a second and make sure it's finished on our respective Instagrams, and then we can end it there too.
So enjoy that, audience, as we say goodbye and then stay for a second.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So everyone, we'll be live again next Tuesday at 3 p.m. And I can't wait to see you there. Yeah.
Because we gotta fit in the millennial pause.
Yeah, absolutely. And have a great week, everyone.